Добре пожаловать в Lagos. Unlike in the States where things are skyrocketing, like in the Europe, like everything, prices are going way high. Before the whole thing started, 60,000 rubles was equivalent to $1,000. But now, because of everything now, that's 120,000 rubles now is going for $1,000. So that's just the thing. Why are you particular about Ukraine joining NATO, not EU? You won't let them join EU, but you want them to join NATO. But the Ukrainians or the president is not like seeing things that way. But nobody is just seeing things from his perspective. He has just one request, which is, but not digging deep to understand the cost of this thing. How long has it been dragging? The government uses the media to control the minds of the people now. Better leave Russia. They're going to bomb Russia now. NATO is going to attack Russia. You better leave that country. Look at what Libya is today now. Who did Gaddafi offend? Gaddafi had Libya had the best economy, had the best life. Look at what they turned Libya to now. The same thing Putin asked them, what was Gaddafi's crime? They killed him like a chicken on the street, like without any glory. Look at what they did to Saddam Hussein. Hung the guy in front of the wall, his people. And when I visit Lagos now, I said nothing has changed. It's still the same way. When potholes, the pothole I left right when I was leaving, the pothole is still there. It's gone wider.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Lost Lagosians, a podcast covering topics about Lagosians, Nigerians, and Africans in diaspora, as well as topics surrounding Africans living outside Africa. I'm your host, Brodda Mike. Today I have a guest that I've been wanting to talk to for some time. He lives out in Russia, on the current events going on around Russia, Ukraine. I've actually wanted to talk to him. We go way back. Without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce our guest. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
We're very good. Well, bless God.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience there?
Well, my name is Richard, and I'm based here in St. Petersburg, Russia. I've been living here, say, almost 20 years now.
On this show, we talk to Lost Lagosians. Lost Lagosians are people that they are not in Lagos, they're just outside of Lagos. So can you tell our audience about your roots and connection to Lagos?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a lost Lagosian. Yes, I am very conversant with everything that has to do with Lagos.
Even outside of Lagos?
Even outside of Lagos.
I love it.
We have this association, it's called NIDO, where all the Lagosians, Nigerians in the diaspora get to come together. We meet, we blend. We have several groups on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Where we share ideas,
Out there where you're at, you guys have an association of Nigerians getting together.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Where we relate from time to time, we share ideas, businesses.
Current events.
Current event.
So, but what part of Lagos did you grow up, just for our audience?
Mostly Surulere, Ekpori Estate.
Oh, Ekpori Estate. Okay. Is that like Costain area?
Yes, they are very close to Costain, yeah.
Not far from the National Stadium?
Not far from, in between.
Okay.
Costain, the National Stadium.
Okay.
That's Brodda Thomas.
Brodda Thomas, wow. Okay.
Yeah, off Brodda Thomas.
Off Brodda Thomas. So do you see a lot of celebrities there? Is that what's going on? Because is this really with all the celebs?
Of course, in Surulere. Oh yeah, they had all the
movie Nollywood.
The Nollywood,
yeah. Well, the Nollywood stars, yeah.
On daily basis.
I can imagine.
Surulere. Most of them they resided back then in Surulere. So it was a common thing to come across actors. It was a very common thing back then.
Right. So you left Nigeria, and how easy was that? I mean, just the general process. Because I know some people listening to us, they're also like thinking about, I'm going to leave Nigeria, man. But way back when you left, how was that process? Was it fairly straightforward, and also why Russia?
Very easy. I was supposed to go study in the UK, Barnsley College. I remember back then.
Oh, really? Oh my God, that's a nice school.
Yes, but because back then we fill applications. You go over, bring the application, you fill them. There was nothing like online applications or whatever. So my big brother brought the application home. We filled. Then my signature was missing.
Oh my God, yeah.
My signature was missing, and the applications was taken back. to the college for
Right,
submission.
right, 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 right.
And then they discovered my signatures were missing and they
It was
couldn't like
incomplete.
it was incomplete, yeah, as far as they were concerned.
Yeah.
And my brother was supposed to stay there for 3 months, and I couldn't wait. So the next option was Russia. Like, okay, fine, I'll take Russia.
Right,
Moreover, I
right,
get
right.
to learn a new language, a new culture. So in general, I'll say the process was smooth. Like
Very
there was
good.
no problem. They brought my visa to me at home.
Wow. Okay, that's a luxury.
Yeah,
So they speak Russian in Russia.
yeah.
Is there any other language?
No, just basically Russia.
How do you say something like "Welcome to Lagos" in Russia or something?
Добре пожаловать в Lagos.
I'm not gonna try to say that back, but yeah, okay, that's quite impressive though. But I know you also speak other language. You speak Yoruba, you speak Igbo. I mean, how do you? Didn't that mess with you a little bit?
Oh, not at all.
Oh,
Not
wow,
at
so it's
all.
easy.
Well, it's growing up. When you grow up in Lagos, it's
Mhm.
automatic. Like you speak
You,
Yoruba.
you speak
If you
Yoruba,
grow up
yeah.
in Lagos,
You speak
and
Yoruba.
then the pidgin, and then if you're smart enough, you can learn a bit of Hausa depending on your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you have to
And
because you have all those aboki and all those molars.
yeah, because
Uh-huh.
I remember back then I was able to speak. I knew basic Hausa then, and I had a trip. I stayed in the Kaduna for 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, so for me, I was picking up then,
Uh-huh.
so won't get the kind of like all the basic
Yeah,
houses,
yeah, yeah.
the things.
They something,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
again,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
being Igbo, it was,
Automatic.
that's automatic, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay. Very fascinating because I'm trying to learn Spanish myself and it's really hard. I think it's hard because Spanish, you don't have those conjunctions. So
Yeah.
Spanish is like they just put words together. So you don't have those conjunctions. One, I think they're called conjunctions. Then also Spanish for some pronouns, I'm sorry. There's a male pronoun, there's a female pronoun.
Yeah.
So it seemed pretty hard. Um, then I went to China for a little bit, then Mandarin, just dabbling in different languages.
Uh-huh.
It's very hard. So I'm quite impressed actually if you speak Russian. I mean, is the writing the same as English?
No.
So you have to learn new alphabets.
That was the frustrating part. But then it's for me, language has to do with interest.
Mm, mm,
Everything has to do with interest. It's like when you live in Lagos, you're compelled to speak Yoruba.
yeah,
Even if
right.
you don't want it, it's natural. It's
Mm,
just the same thing here. But
mm,
then it goes way beyond,
mm,
because to transact with anybody, to do anything, you have to
mm,
speak the language. And then I
right.
went to school. I did the Russian course for 8 months.
Wow, like the Russian language gone gone.
Yes, the Russian language course before you get admitted to school.
That's like the English as a second language, kind of.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Wow. They say people that speak multiple language, they can better combat things like Alzheimer's and all this kind of dementia and stuff because their brain is like evolved differently because of how much the dexterity of the brain. So
I completely agree, because right now the same thing. When you see kids who are bilingual or
mhm,
multilingual, they tend to be smarter than
mhm,
kids who speak just one language,
mhm, mhm,
because
mhm,
they get to assimilate, and they are
mhm.
more thoughtful
Yeah, they process things differently. Same as learning
differently.
musical instruments.
Yes.
Yeah. But without going too much off topic, what I was going to talk to you about was with the current situation in Russia and Ukraine. And for a lot of our audience and listeners, a lot of information we get is just what we hear from the news. And I've been longing to talk to someone who's actually technically Russian, because I mean, that's what you are. So Russian-Lagosian. So what's like a high level for those of us who are a little bit not as into the matter, we're hearing secondhand information, but for you who's you're there, I mean, you live there, that's like your life. How does that, how would you dumb it down for us?
Well, basically, nothing is happening here, unlike what the Western media is broadcasted. Everything is smooth. Nothing. The prices of things
Mm-hmm.
are the same, unlike in the States where things are skyrocketing, like in the Europe, like everything prices are going way high. It's the contrary here. Things are just going smoothly. But the only thing I can say is foreign exchange. Now our currency is chasing dollars. Like before the whole thing started, 60,000 rubles was equivalent to $1,000. But now because of everything now,
Okay.
that's 120,000 rubles now is going for $1,000. So that's
$1,000.
just the thing.
Okay.
So
So
those
it
who
doubled.
transact, who trade, who transacts internationally are having severe problems because of the sanctions. But internally, nothing is really happening. Everything is safe.
It's really comforting to know that, everything is fine and everything is kind of going very well. Then also in terms of the media, I mean, what would you say is different between what we're seeing in our media and what like is actually going on the ground?
For me, the media, I just believe, because it's what we say, the West used the media to manipulate the people, the
The
mind
citizens.
of the people. Just like during the case of the Saddam Hussein, the Iran, everything, they label Saddam Hussein as the devil reincarnated, like, oh, this is the devil himself. So they used the media to brainwash the people to think, oh, this guy is a terrible person. The same thing with in Iran, the same thing in Libya.
Gaddafi.
It made Gaddafi look like the devil himself. But at the end of the day, what happened? They were not brought to book. They were not. There was no sanction on the Western world and everything, and they went scot-free. In Iran, they claimed Iran had weapon of mass destruction. They went killed the people, innocent people. At the end, they found nothing. What happened to them? Nothing. And just the same way they're doing now, trying to make Putin look like the most terrible person on earth. But then nobody is putting into consideration his request, his demands.
What is asking for?
Nobody's asking me, why is this guy doing this? He said, look, I just want one thing. I want security for my people. Maybe it's coming too close. We had an agreement the first time. Oh, you say you're not going to come further to the Eastern Europe. Now, you said you're going to just take the Western Europe. Fine. But then you keep coming further. And Ukraine is a border to Russia. Like, it's too close for comfort. And that's all this guy wants. But the media is not just saying, they're not saying things from his perspective. Moreover, what has been going on for the past 8 years, the Ukrainians have been blasting the Donbass, that the Russian-speaking part of Ukraine. What has been going on for the past 8 years? The people the Ukrainians have been killing the people. Nobody's talking about that. And now recently there was this thing going around where they claimed the Russian bombed the maternity home.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That's the item propaganda.
This is middle of March 2022.
How come you claim Russia bombed a maternity home, killed all the women and children? There are no corpses. Like, how is that possible?
Where are the bodies?
Where are the bodies? There should be something. Now, we now got to understand there was this particular picture where the lady was out, pregnant lady. She was actually a model, or she's actually a model, right? The building had already been evacuated. They evacuated all the occupants. That's by the Ukrainian nationalist group. They occupied the place, used it like as their military base in that district.
Right.
So the Russian troop just went, took over the place. Not that they bombed anywhere. But the West, they don't want to see it that way. Now, the most recent is the biolab that is being financed by the US. Russia has proof.
Oh, yeah, I read about that too. Yeah. Okay.
Over 30 biolabs in Ukraine that are being financed by the US.
By the US, yeah.
But they don't want to believe that. They don't want to talk about that in the news. So that's there's more propaganda. Of course, I'm not going to exclude Russia media has their propaganda too.
As well, internally.
Nothing is happening, nothing, but we know things are really happening. But then nobody, like, they're not showing it the way it is. So I think there's more propaganda from the West than there is from Russia. So that's just the thing.
No, thank you. That's a good summary. And I think, in this day of social media where everybody's kind of siloed and everybody listen to what they want to listen. If you don't agree with me, I don't want to talk to you. This is an opportunity. I'm trying to, just using this medium to talk to someone who has an opposing view or who is Ukrainian or If you feel like that you kind of disagree, feel free to reach out to us at lostlagosians@gmail.com, lostlagosians@gmail.com. I would like to hear all your opinions, and I'll bring you up online if we need to have this conversation.
Sorry, I'm open for dialogue. Like I know a lot of people have opposite view, but
Yeah.
I reside here. I know things the way they are here. I know history. I know from when the NATO started coming into Europe and with the days of Georgia, when they wanted to take over Georgia, when NATO wanted to join Georgia, the same thing Russia, coming too close. If you remember the Georgian war then too, the same way they did to Georgia, that's what they're doing to Ukraine now. Putin said, look,
So
if
history
you
is
love
repeating
Ukraine
itself.
so much, if you claim to love Ukraine so much, why don't you let Ukraine join EU? That's European Union. Why are you particular about Ukraine joining NATO, not EU? You won't let them join EU, but you want them to join NATO. But the Ukrainians or the president is not like seeing things that way. When the war broke out, he now wrote an application to join the EU. He was denied less than 24 hours. Is that not a sign?
Nobody's talking about that. Yeah.
Nobody say these people don't have the interest at heart. They're just like a puppet to them to get to Russia. But Putin knows all that. He understands the game. But nobody is just seeing things from his perspective. He had just one request, which is don't come too close. And now they've been financing chemical weapons in Ukraine, which they know. There's proof, but nobody wants to say that. In recently at the UN, the Sergei Lavrov, that the foreign minister, was there to present these allegations, but they claim, oh, they're all lies. No, we are not even interested in seeing the details. So that's why, and the major problem we have now is the people. We are too lazy to dig deep, right? We are.
What do you mean the people like?
The
Nigerians
people,
like myself
the
abroad.
average people, like an average Nigerian, is reluctant to go digging deep, like to find out history, what happened. So it's easy and convenient for them to believe things they read and watch, right? Just easily news. Oh, Russia invaded Ukraine, and they believe, oh, Russia is being greedy, Russia, but not digging deep to understand the cause of this thing. How long has it been dragging?
What's the background?
An average person is reluctant, to want to fight to learn, to get the facts right. Not just Nigerians, it's just even in the West. People are, an average American is so, how do I say?
Yeah, don't say lazy.
Clumsy.
Please don't say lazy.
You see, they don't want to the BBC is saying, CNN is saying, oh, they are saying this, they're saying that, Fox News, and we just believe what they say. They believe the narratives, but the government uses the media to control the minds of the people now.
Very, very well put. I agree with you, and as even listeners of Lost Lagosians, we try to be objective and to hear everybody out and to listen, because I remember that during the Iraqi war, the US, the strategy is just they go first with air. They kind of like they bomb whatever they can bomb, just air. Then before that, after they do the air, then they now start sending the army to go into the ground. And let's destroy whatever we can. And I think Trump did that with the Syrian president. He used the mother of all bombs just to bomb like whatever can bomb and blow. But what I've been noticing about the approach with Russia is basically they are doing ground troops. I think it's like they're being careful to make sure they don't, destroy, like let's just obliterate the place and make the place become a ghost town, like the US tend to do in other parts of the world that they've invaded. So, and then they also curfew and stuff. Guys, I think they'll be more reasonable and logical from my objective point of view.
Ukrainians are Russians. It does Russia no good to arm its people.
Ukrainians are Russian from 100 years ago.
We know. Now, Russia is not actually going for war. Like what they are saying, the Russians are killing innocent people. You see, if Russia wanted to take over Ukraine, trust me, it can be done under 24 hours. If the plan was like, let's do like that, like the US does to countries, they will have taken Ukraine. They will take Ukraine on it. But Russia is not interested in that. See, they just took over strategic places. You see, queue of soldiers waiting at the border. You see, if they had wanted to attack or invade Ukraine, like the media is saying, they would have done that easily. But Russia is not on. They just took over the strategic places, taking consideration of the masses, the people.
The
But it's the
civilians.
separatist group that are doing the killings, the bombing, the everything. Because I know these Russians, most of my friends are in the military, they're in the force. We interact, I work with most of them. I understand their ways. And that's when they tell me, when I watch the news and I see what they're saying, like, well, it favors them. That's why we just need to get the facts right. And that's I think this is a way to tell the people what is really happening as against their mindset. Because I've been speaking with some Nigerians and they wouldn't want you better leave Russia. They're going to bomb Russia now. NATO is going to attack Russia. You better leave that country. I'm like, well, let's wait and see. It
Yeah, but
goes
you being on
in,
the ground there,
it shows how naive people are.
I was just going to say, being on the ground there, you know what's happening, you know how peaceful things are, you know the quiet, and it's just like no different almost from what you are describing.
That's the thing, because we've been working, nothing has been stopped. We still have all the food stuff. Now even the gas is coming down. The price of gas has gone down.
Wow.
While in the west, it's gone up, and yet it's come down. Like things are even being subsidized now. Like nothing is happening. But we know in Ukraine things are not good. Let's face the fact, because I have some friends, colleagues whose families are still back there. And Russians are the one giving humanitarian services to them, supplying them with their needs, supplies, Now, if Russia was so mean, like, let's go and take down this country like the US does, trust me, they will have, if they want, they will clear Ukraine from the surface of the earth. But to what end?
Yeah, to what end will they destroy their own people?
That's the thing. So what's the point? And they're still giving them shelter, still providing them with the basic needs. Russia did not shut the supply of electricity, water to Ukraine. It's the Ukrainians who did that themselves. To the Donbass, to the Lugansk region. They were making more money from Russia than they were making from the West, or they will ever make from the West. The passage of the oil and gas from Ukraine to the West, they were being paid how many billions of dollars, but because they just wanted the EU passport, like I want to align more with the West than with Russia. Like, you must, this, they don't love you. Your economy, you have nothing to offer the EU. You understand? You have not, and your population is more than that of EU altogether. The population is much. You have nothing to offer. Your economy is, your people will just come and dominate us, which is not favorable to them. So what's the point? They are not putting that into consideration.
Yeah, Ukraine is about 44 million as of 2022. And a lot of EU's countries are actually small.
They are too small.
Tiny.
So, and when they join EU, automatically their passports they can live anywhere. Germany, France, they will dominate the places. And the thing, because they are just like Russia, they have beautiful women, they will take over all their husbands. Like, I know people hate Russians because their women are so beautiful. They take over, like, they are, because when they know how to take care of their men. And when you have a Russian who collect your husband from you, trust me, you're going to have phobia for Russians. The hatred is going to be equal to love.
Yeah, and they have good vodka, I guess,
So these are things I know, which is not favorable to all of them.
No, this is comfortable just knowing, especially, shout out to those Nigerians that are out in Russia. Shout out to those Nigerians in Ukraine as well. Just be safe. We're praying. I know a lot of people are actually praying for the situation to get better, because there was like, oh, hope this is not like a world war, another world war and stuff like that. But certainly, thoughts and prayers for those impacted by the situation.
Because in the Ukrainian constitution, it stated there that they'll have to lobby to join the NATO and to join the EU. And what Russia is demanding to change their constitution to remove that they have to join NATO. Like, that's what Russia is demanding. Change your constitution, because we want to feel safe. Just the way you will not be happy if Russia should have a military base in Cuba or in Mexico. The United States is not going to find that funny, to the extent that, because Russia knows everything the US does in Ukraine. Do you know how many political parties the West are sponsoring in Russia? A lot. We know all the rallies, all the protests the West are sponsoring in Russia. It's the people, your people, they're not going to come protesting. It's your people they're going to use against you. All they have to promise them the passports, promise them this, promise them good life. You start the protest, and before you know it escalates like, and that's where the West will now come in, human rights, this, that. That's when they take. That was how they start. That's how they start everywhere. Look at what Libya is today now. Who did Gaddafi offend? Gaddafi had the best. Libya had the best economy, had the best life. Look at what they turned Libya to now. The same thing Putin asked them, what was Gaddafi's crime? They killed him like a chicken on the street, like without any glory. Look at what they did to Saddam Hussein. Hung the guy in front of the world, his people. Afghanistan, claiming they did this. So for me, I'm not trying to be biased. It's just like let's act and work with facts. There was an interview I watched recently about Trump saying, do you agree Putin is a terrible person, is a murderer, is this, is that? Like, look at, are we innocent? Is the US innocent? Tell me, we all are guilty as charged. If you think Putin is a terrible person, do you think we here are good? How many countries have we invaded, bombarded? At the end of the day, nothing is true for it. Fact is, let's make research, understand what's happening. How many countries did Russia colonize? None. You understand? Russia didn't colonize any country. Russia didn't take any slave. Russia didn't partake in the slave masters and anything. But all the West who are fighting for humanitarian services, for this, that, they all partook in the slave trade. So should they be in the position to tell you what's right and what's wrong?
While you're talking about that, I just want to make a quick digression. In Ukraine, there was this thing going on around about Nigerians not being treated fairly by the Ukrainians, or not getting AIDS for us because of the color of their skin, or blacks not getting AIDS and stuff. What do you have to say about that? The blacks in Ukraine?
That's normal. It's just normal. It is what it is. We're blacks. Okay. We're treated as inferior. Even in the United States, there's more.
We're not created as inferior. We're just.
It's the mindset. It is what it is here.
Oh, their mindset.
Yeah, in the US. Okay. Trust me, in the US, it's worse.
I live in the US.
So, God, I'm telling you, it's institutional.
Same way you live in Russia, yeah. So I know
it's institutional in the US. You must have come across
racism,
once in a while. Yeah. I'm yet to come across discrimination here, not even once. Right, everywhere I
maybe there 20 years. Yeah, I got you.
I've yet to come across like discrimination, like even mortgage. I've been approved mortgage. There are so many things you look into, like everywhere I would, like, there's no such thing like, oh, you're black. I'm yet to feel the fact that I'm black. Like, but in the US, I have a friend who lives in Pennsylvania. Like, I know what he goes through on a daily basis. He calls me, man, this country is fucked. It is what it is. We know. So what happened in Ukraine will happen in any society. But what they forgot to understand is we all are humans. We all are running for safety. Right?
And resources, I mean, yeah.
That shouldn't have happened. I'm not saying it's what it was right, but then it's just what it is.
As we're wrapping up our conversation, how much of Lagos have you missed being in Russia? I kind of want to take you back home.
If I tell you I don't miss Lagos, I'm lying. Well, and again, when you stay in Lagos too much, I can tell you one thing for fact. An average Lagosian is running mad. An average Lagosian is mad. Not running mad, is mad.
I think you've insulted 80% of our audience.
I am Nigerian. I am Lagosian.
So you can get away with that.
You see, you need to stay away when you live in Lagos for too long. Sometimes you need, like, every 6 months, you need to take a break from Lagos.
If you can, not everybody can.
Yeah, if you can, not just necessarily, like, you can just change the environment.
Or maybe go to Abuja or go to a different part of Nigeria.
Anywhere, just go to the north. Even recently, the Kano state governor, you heard what he said. I don't know if you watched the interview. The Kano state governor, what he said about Lagosians. I'll try and see if I can find the video and send to you. He said, look, how do people in Lagos cope? You spend 3 hours in the traffic to go to work, 3 hours to get back home. How do you cope? An average Lagosian is running mad. And how do you know, again, they are running mad? You see the way, like, pee on the road. In the same country, it's a crime. Right?
Yeah.
But to them, it's normal. You see them play music. Pum, 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 pum.
Yeah.
Like, for them, it's normal.
Yeah.
In a sane world, when there's, like, you hit each other, you park, let the inspector come to check things out, But in Lagos, it's too fighting automatic. Like, Yeah, but
Yeah. So you're talking about the chaos.
yeah, you see, in the same country, traffic, there are norms, there are rules. You see a Lagosian trying to like maneuver because we believe we are smarter than every other person. But it's that thing. You see, all those petty things, all the like queue. Yeah, to board a bus, like if there's a queue, we need to wait. An average Lagosian wants to like maneuver to be
the front.
So that's, you see, it's bit by bit. That's why I say an average Lagosian is not normal.
No, I get it.
I'm not saying to be insulted, but it's just what it is. It's the fact. I am part of the society. I am part of the system. And that's why I think I was fortunate to leave when I left.
True.
And when I visited Lagos now, I said nothing has changed. It's still the same way.
Even in 2022, it's like this is the same Lagos.
But you know, potholes, the pothole I left right when I was leaving, the pothole is still there. It's gone wider.
Yeah, I wish I can disagree with you on everything you've said.
Feel free. It's just I have my part.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you have any parting words or just words of advice regarding the situation going on in Ukraine and Lagos?
Well, one thing I can say is this. We should try to investigate, research everything before we say, because right now, the media is being deceitful, I'll say, because every government wants to show a particular narrative to favor them.
There's an agenda.
And that's why I believe we have access to information at our fingertips. Let's try to research, dig deep, find out things, and not just to work based on ESA. Because not long ago, I was caught up in a conversation on Facebook where someone said, oh, Russians are so reckless. There are no speed limits. There are no this in Russia. That's why people die anyhow in Russia. And I asked her, I read her something like, have you ever been to Russia to witness this? She said, no, my father said. And I'm like, you're a young lady, you're over 20, and you're still working on ESA, and you're bold enough to come to social media to write this nonsense. My father said. I said, don't you feel ashamed of yourself? You see? That's why sometimes it costs you nothing. You live in the UK and you're still saying, my father said. Why don't you just go feed your eyes, see things for yourself, have a first-hand information
experience?
And that's why I encourage everybody, before you say anything, try to be sure what you say are the facts, and you believe the person can never falter or it can never be wrong. So that's what I have to say to people who are listening to me. If you think you get any information, verify the information. Don't join the bandwagon saying, oh, this is what they are saying now. Believing other people's narratives, because everybody wants to sell their information.
Absolutely.
Believe what they believe. And that's it.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us today. That's all the time we have. Please feel free to follow us on social media at Lost Lagosians and all the social media platforms. We're also on YouTube at Lost Lagosians. So thank you so much, Mr. Richard, for being here. We do wish you safety and everybody in Ukraine. Thank you all for listening, and
thank you for having me.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.